Hi, seniors. My name is Rosemary Panio, and I chair the Yorktown Senior Advisory Committee. And I'm here today with our Yorktown Supervisor, Matt Slater, and who will be joining us also is Maureen Curtin of the Ivy Rehab in Yorktown. She's going to be having a wonderful discussion with us. Although we can't have our monthly public meeting here at Town Hall, we miss you all. Along with our lunch sponsor, we miss New York Presbyterian Hudson Valley Hospital, the supervisor, the town board members, and the Senior Advisory Committee want you to know that we continue to be concerned and want to address your concerns. Today, we're joined by Maureen Curtin, as I just said, of Ivy Rehab in Yorktown, and she's going to discuss with us ways that we can stay healthy, physically limber and healthy during this trying time, especially now that we're going into the colder months and may not want to be outside as much or walking, here in town or what have you. So, Mr. Supervisor and Maureen? Who's going first? You, Maureen? Should we let Maureen go first?
Ladies
Okay,
first, please.
Okay. Hi, Maureen. How
Hello.
you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Good.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
So as Rose said, I just wanted to discuss some ideas and ways that we can keep active. Obviously, this pandemic has been difficult for everyone in different ways, and people are not as active, maybe being home more often. So we want to make sure that we maintain physical and mental health. So being in the house more often and not being as active, obviously we can become more deconditioned, and you actually lose muscle mass and muscle strength as well. So number one, the first thing that we can try to do is to try to get on a regular exercise program. So that can mean a variety of things. The World Health Organization recommends 150 minutes of moderate aerobic exercise per week. So if you break that down through every day, that really is only about 21 minutes a day. So that really is very doable. So right now, as the weather is still good, hopefully people can get outside a little bit and walk. But there are lots of other options if it's a bad day or you're not able to get outside. So there are a multitude of exercise videos. If you have access to a computer, to go on YouTube or Google exercise videos, or many people might have their own tapes, walking tapes or exercise tapes at home. So that's, of course, an option, and trying to do some continuous work for about 20 minutes with a moderate intensity. So meaning that as you're walking or as you're exercising, you should be able to speak some words but not have a full conversation. Then you're probably not working hard enough. And then along with the aerobic activity, it's also recommended to do some progressive resistive exercise. So that's beneficial for a number of reasons. It helps us to build our muscle mass, muscle strength. So as we age, we lose between 3 and 8% of our muscle mass in every decade after the age of 30. So the good thing is, though, we can counter that loss by maintaining a regular exercise program. So even simple things in the house, if you or someone who goes to the gym, that's obviously still fine, although many of you may not want to be out in public at the moment. But there are lots of ways to do similar exercises in the home. You can do body weight exercises, such as getting up and down out of a chair, push-ups if you can't do regular push-ups, even wall push-ups or on a surface such as a kitchen table. Squats, or what we call wall sits, leaning against the wall and sliding down into a semi-sitting position, or just a couple of examples of ways you can exercise using your body weight. And then you can also do upper body exercise, for example, using if you have light weights in the house. Otherwise, you can improvise and use like a bottle of water or soup cans to do active exercises. And then other ideas, again, going back to the things on the computer, online, or tapes, are yoga and Tai Chi are both exercises that are a combination of aerobic and weight or resistive exercise, and are also very beneficial for balance training. So going back to the notion of increasing your muscle mass, one important aspect of that as well is maintaining good nutrition. So
Yes.
protein is one of the most important things that we can put into our body. The body breaks down protein into amino acids, which is then used to build muscle. So chicken, fish, lean meats, eggs, Greek yogurt especially, beans are all good sources of protein that we can all use. And also very important is fluids, drinking water. Dehydration is a big problem, especially in our seniors, because when you're sitting home, you don't always necessarily think about drinking water, but it can lead to having decreased blood pressure and lightheadedness, so put you more at risk of falls.
So how much water should the average person drink?
About 32 ounces a day is, more than that is okay, but at least 32 ounces a day would be beneficial.
They have those larger water bottles.
Correct.
That you can fill up once during the entire day to get you to that 32-ounce mark. And then if you can go more, then go more, of course.
Right.
But at least that you're getting
Hydrated.
Consuming the recommended amount of water during each day.
Right.
So I know like my grandmother has one, my mom has one, my wife even has one. So you only have to fill it up once, and you can do it the night before even. Keep it in the fridge so it's nice and cold, and
Right.
take it out that morning, and you can use it throughout the day.
So do other fluids?
Yeah, other fluids
Place?
can.
I know when I grew up, we never had soda at our table. We were not allowed to have
Right.
soda at our table. We had water or we had wine. That's where we learned to use products, was at our table. And
Right.
but now I see it's, everybody is talking about how much water they should be drinking.
Right. So water is, of course, the best. Some other,
Little
if you
wine
want to mix
doesn't
in,
hurt, though, does it?
and if you want to mix in some other fluids during the day, things with caffeine, though, coffee, tea, soda, are not ideal because caffeine is a diuretic. So that kind of defeats the purpose a little bit. But primarily, I would say make most of your fluid water, and then if you have maybe iced tea or something like that, a glass here and there, that would be fine. And just also, checking with your doctor, especially if you're taking any medication
Right.
for blood pressure or diuretics. If they do want you to be on any fluid restriction, of course, that is something you should know before trying to introduce that much fluid. And the same with your exercise routine. You should just clear with your doctor before starting anything new. If you have any history of heart disease.
Right, of course. Just to make sure that you're not putting yourself in danger accidentally by overexerting.
Right.
Correct.
Right, yeah.
Those are great
And
tips.
then
Yeah,
Thank you.
we're especially interested in ways to prevent falls. That's something that's
yes,
balance, because we do lose our balance at some
Correct.
point, especially if
Yeah.
we're on medication.
right.
So what can you tell us about that? Because I think that's I think we all kind of feel that we're not quite as balanced as we used to be. So, I used to be a ski jumper. I don't ski jump anymore. I do not ski jump. But there are certain things, precautions that I now feel, maybe I should think about doing this, or maybe I should think about we talked about in the
Yes.
bathroom, for instance, having a handrail
Correct, yes.
available when we're showering or something. You start to think about that. I think it's worthwhile.
That's a
An
good
ounce
point.
An ounce of precaution, what is the saying, is worth a million cures. So I think we need to start thinking about that as well. And the exercise helps, does it not?
Yes, that's correct. I mean, falls, 33% of people over the age of 65 will have a fall each year. But there, as you said, things that we can do to help prevent those falls. And falling is not a normal event, even as we age. So, as you mentioned, tripping hazards in the home, making sure that the walkways are clear, there's no clutter on the floor, that any throw rugs are either taken off or secured down with, you can use double-sided tape. There are other types of adhesives that will help to keep those in place. Having your medications checked with your doctor or pharmacist every year to make sure that there aren't things that are interacting or that may be causing you to get dizzy or lower your blood pressure too much. And your vision also, having your vision checked at least once a year is important. And along the lines with the vision, having night lights in the house is a good idea.
That's a very good idea, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in each room ideally, but certainly in the bathroom, in the bedroom, on your route to the bathroom, you want to make sure that it's lit, especially if you need to get up at night. And if you use an assistive device, and even if you don't use it all the time during the day, to have it next to the
Close by.
bedside at night,
Right.
especially if you get up at night and the lights are a little bit dimmer and you may be not 100% oriented. You mentioned in the bathroom safety, the grab bars in the shower, even near the toilet if possible, and if need be, getting a seat in the shower that you can sit down, use the handheld shower. Having good sturdy handrail on the stairs is important if you have stairs in your
Sometimes
in
you
your
gotta
home.
put the handrails on both walls.
That would be
I know
ideal
that
if
at
you
my,
could
at
do
my
that.
mom's house.
Yes, that would
Yep.
be the best scenario. And then, as we just spoke about before, having good nutrition and trying to get on a regular exercise program are ways to help prevent falls. So I mentioned some of the exercises before, but some simple balance exercises you could do, even standing by the kitchen table or by a chair, something sturdy, kitchen counter, working on like standing on one foot at a time, lifting one leg off of the floor, doing kind of mini squats, raising up on your toes, a few simple exercises that are helpful in kind of retraining your balance.
And if you're taking medications, it will state on your medication generally that it can cause dizziness. That doesn't mean it always does.
Correct.
But I have, myself included, take a medication before I go to sleep at night. And if I get up too early and I don't just bounce out of bed, I pause for a moment to
right.
be sure that I'm steady on my feet,
Yes.
because it does sort of have that effect on me. That's why I take it at night. And I want to be sure that I'm steady as I'm getting up.
Right.
I'll just pause a moment to be sure I'm feeling fine, and then I'll get up if I have to get up even very early
Excellent idea.
for whatever. So these are things that we have to think about as we age.
Right.
I keep talking, you and I, Matt, have a lot of these discussions about the fact that people are living much longer, and we become seniors at 65, but we have many people in our community, and a lot of them are very lively and very astute mentally,
Yeah.
that into their 90s. There's a difference between a senior and an elder,
Yes.
and we talk about that often because there are a lot of subjects that we discuss on how we can assist people as they go through this cycle, which is, in many cases, 30 years. So that doesn't
Right.
mean that even if you're pretty healthy, that you can do at 90 what you did at 60 or 65. So we're trying to, these are the things that we're trying to address in the senior advisory. And I think our town, our board, everyone is very cognizant of this.
Well, that differentiation between a senior and elder, I think, is a very good one.
Right.
And my wife, who's in healthcare, when she heard you mention that, she said she thought it was absolutely brilliant.
Good.
And you're right. I mean, seniors, you turn a senior at 65, but a 65-year-old senior, they're still very, very active.
Oh, yes.
Very incredibly active. And then, as you said, since our seniors are living older, longer, you really transition from that senior lifestyle to more of the elderly lifestyle. And I think it's important that we recognize that differentiation and that growth. And so, we're trying to come up with more ways, more programmatic ways to recognize the difference between seniors and elders. Of course, you and I have had many conversations about other aspects of our community, housing and affordability and so on and so forth, and how that impacts a senior differently than an elder. And we've had those conversations, you and I and other members of the Senior Advisory Committee, and those are things that, we're still looking at different ways of addressing, which I think we might have some options and hopefully good news in the coming weeks and months as we continue to recover from the COVID crisis that we still find ourselves in. But it's, again, for our senior population, that understanding that the 65-year-old is still very, very active, whereas, people are, and I think of our good friend, Mr. Grasso.
Yeah.
I think he's the perfect model of it, living into their 90s. And so that 65-year-old is very different than that 90-year-old, and what their needs are and what services they need specifically. That's very different between those two age groups. So continuing to evolve as a community and continue to evolve the services that we were able to offer. I did want to just talk about a couple of things, if that's okay.
Sure.
I mentioned COVID, and this is why it's so important to hear from Maureen, because our seniors especially are being impacted tremendously because their lifestyle has been disrupted. And the last thing that a senior, frankly, we want to see is have them confined to their house, because it really has a physical impact as well as an emotional and mental impact that really is distressing.
Yes.
And, my grandmother still lives here in town, and it's taken quite some time, but I'm happy to report now that she's doing her walks on her own. And to the point where she's not even telling anybody. She's walking out the front door. So, but she's, exercising on her own. But,
Good.
but it's something that I think a lot of our seniors and our elder population really need to keep in mind.
Yes.
And again, the COVID situation they're in is really, really put a burden on them because they can't, I think, again, of Mr. Grasso, and he's got a group of veterans that he usually meets
Yes.
at the Jefferson Valley Mall. Unfortunately, they can't meet now. So you're
Right.
missing, you're missing the physical exercise that they'd get by walking the mall, but you're also missing the social interaction,
yes.
which
Oh,
is
yes.
just so critical,
important, yes.
especially for our seniors right now. And so, you and I have talked about this, and it's just so important for our seniors to be able to stay connected, to pick up the phone, to go through your phone book and pick out 2 or 3 names a day, and just
Absolutely.
call and say hello and have a friendly conversation. It's not the same interaction that you may want, that person-to-person interaction, but at least you have a friendly voice on the other end of the phone. And I know that you've been doing that yourself
doing
and checking
that.
on some of your neighbors who are also seniors or elderly.
Or especially living alone.
Yes.
Someone lives alone and you don't see them. You might want to inquire as to how they're doing. Do they need anything?
Right.
Or just say hello and have an opportunity to have a conversation. That's a wonderful thing as well.
And unfortunately, and I think you can attest to this, sometimes that might be the only phone call they get that
It
day.
might be. It might be.
And if you think about that for a second, imagine just spending all day home alone
Yeah.
with no one to talk to. But that one phone call could really make that difference. And so, to not just our seniors, but to all of our neighbors in Yorktown, I think we should keep that in mind and try to make sure they're making that proactive outreach. And that's something that, we've talked about a lot over the last few months. I think we've titled it the Yorktown Way, just being there for each
Yep,
other, being good
absolutely,
neighbors.
absolutely.
And that just continues to personify personify the Yorktown way.
And yeah, you're right. And there are a lot of services now that not only are we interested in, but a lot of the stores and a lot of the activities in town will
Yeah.
reach out to you.
Absolutely.
So we talked about Ride Connect. If you have
Yeah.
if you have an appointment and you can't drive to it,
Right.
you can call Ride Connect.
Yep. Do you have the number over there?
I have the number 242-7433.
They'll also do some shopping for you.
They'll do some shopping for you.
Yep. Over at the grocery stores
yep.
if you're not comfortable going out shopping.
Yep. There's
They-
curbside pickup,
Yep.
and there's also delivery services
Correct.
as well. If you
Ride
need,
Connect offers a ton of services for our seniors, and it's all volunteers.
yeah, it's all
Which
volunteers.
is terrific, and we really want to
Yeah,
thank them for their
awesome.
continued service to our
Yes,
community.
it's a great, tremendous service.
Yeah, we have some
If you
clients
have,
who use it.
I also tell them, all the seniors that I come across, is if you have a question about your particular situation, I tell them call the town hall, call the
Yeah, please.
supervisor,
Please, yeah.
and see if there is something, some agency, some group that can help you. Because if you have something that's going on that's making you unhappy, we want to try to help you with that
Always.
situation. So you can call the supervisor's office. You want to give them your telephone number?
914-962-5722. My direct line is extension 200, so
Yep.
you can call me directly. And then for our seniors or elderly who utilize email, you can email me directly at mslater@yorktownny.org. If I can also put a plug in for our Senior Nutrition Center and our
Yes,
Senior
please
Nutrition
do.
staff.
You want to talk to us about that?
Yeah,
Meals
sure.
on
So
Wheels?
they're Meals on Wheels continuing to work. We're not, because of COVID, we're trying to keep. We're not allowing seniors to come to congregate because it's just too risky right now.
Yeah.
It remains too risky, and I think you see with the numbers that unfortunately we are seeing an increase in the numbers once again. I was on a conference call earlier this week with County Executive Latimer, and the statistics that we're seeing now are equivalent to what we saw in early June. So we're back in that realm. And so out of an abundance of caution, this is why we're not doing the Senior Advisory Committee
Right.
meetings in person either, because when you
Right.
put people together, large groups of people together, you're really rolling the dice and taking some significant risks when it comes to COVID. So what we're doing instead, and our staff deserves just a ton of credit, is that we're actually delivering the meals
Wonderful.
directly to seniors at their homes, and it's the program has grown considerably. We're up to, I believe it's 140 roughly that we're delivering to every single week. In addition to that, we also are now cooking for the town of Somers, which we've been doing in the past, but continuing to cook for the town of Somers, and we just started cooking for the town of Cortland as well.
Wow.
And so our senior nutrition programs really turned into a bit of a model regionally for other communities to take advantage of, and our staff has not backed down. They've worked through the entire pandemic, especially our senior nutrition staff, because we wanted to make sure that our seniors were still taken care of. Because the fact of the matter is, if it wasn't for the senior nutrition program, they wouldn't be receiving food. And so they really rely on those services.
And that's daily.
It's daily, and at one point we were doing every other during the height of the pandemic.
Okay.
But they were getting 2 meals. They're getting
Okay.
a hot meal and then a meal for the freezer that they can take out the next day and heat
Wonderful.
up on their own. But right now we're back to daily.
It's a great kitchen. I've been in the kitchen many times. It's a great kitchen.
Yeah, and they love their seniors,
Yeah.
and the staff loves their seniors, and they love going, and it gives them an opportunity to knock on their door and say hello, socially distanced, taking a few steps back, but making sure they're okay.
That's right.
And it's just so critically important. But if anyone has any questions or needs from our Senior Nutrition Center, please call them at 914-962-7447. That's their direct line. And we have a terrific staff led by, of course, Noreen.
Noreen was wonderful,
and,
yes.
and Terry, and they do just a great
They
job
do,
for the
they do.
community. So
Yep.
for anyone who has any questions for them, again, their number is 962-7447. We talked about exercising, which is one of the real focuses of today. Very excited that Club Fit is going to be partnering with the town. We're going to be filming their first exercise class specifically for our senior and elderly population. That'll be next
Wonderful.
week, and that's
Good.
going to be, we're going to put a schedule out so that our seniors will be able to view that for free on the government access channel, the same that we're going to be putting this discussion on. And so we'll have more details for that as to when to expect the first class to be aired. And I want to thank Tom Ciangela, of course, the the best producer in Yorktown for going and taping these exercise sessions, and to our friends at Club Fit for making
Sure,
themselves available to our community. And as a reminder, just a few more. You talked about vision and getting your vision checked annually. You know, we had the president of Hudson Valley Hospital Center here. I did a COVID update with her. Her name's Stacy Petrover, just a wonderful
She's
woman.
a wonderful person.
Yep,
Yes.
and as well, and you were with me. You were on that update as
Yes,
well, and you were
yes.
joined also by Dr. Bill Higgins,
Dr.
who's
Bill
the
Higgins,
regional
Dr.
medical director
Yep.
for New York Presbyterian. And just one of the things that I want to make sure that we re-emphasize is the need to continue for your maintenance checkups.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so even though we understand that COVID is obviously here, our hospitals have gone just above and beyond, and frankly, I think all of our medical offices have gone above and beyond to guard against and protect our patients from COVID. So don't put off any of
No.
those exams, your annuals. You continue to do them because, you know, and I think Maureen could attest, and I think I said this when we were speaking with Stacy and Dr. Higgins, it's much easier to stay healthy than to get healthy.
Right.
And so if you let yourself fall into a downward spiral and not continue to go seek medical help or continue to get monitored or have your annual checkups or your colonoscopies or your mammograms or whatever your annual
And your flu shot.
and of course don't
Need
forget
to
your
have
flu
your
shot,
flu shot.
right?
That's very. And
But
the
if you-
senior, there is a senior flu shot.
There is, yes.
Yes.
Yep. But if you put those off, you really are putting yourself in a much more vulnerable position. So even though COVID is here, just rest assured, and we were reassured
Yep.
by the president of Hudson Valley Hospital Center and their medical director that New York Presbyterian Hudson Valley has gone above and beyond
Oh, yes.
to accommodate for those procedures, and that no one should have any trepidation or hesitation about COVID in regards to getting the proper medical care that they need on
And
an annual basis.
they will test you while you're there. I know my husband and I had our physicals a couple of weeks
Yeah.
ago, got our senior flu shot, and they will test you for COVID.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
it's
And there
a
are
great
also-
thing. You have to. It's
yeah.
something we have to do.
And many of the doctors, and I know we were in our office too, and we still are providing telehealth visits
That's right.
too.
Telehealth
Obviously,
visits are
some
really
things
booming right now.
Cannot be done through telehealth, but
Yep.
if it's a minor issue, maybe that's an option for some people.
Absolutely. And telehealth, for those who don't know, is when you're able to communicate with a medical provider either over the internet or over your phone.
Yep.
And it's just like FaceTime. You know, I know a lot of people doing FaceTime right now, especially with their grandkids and their kids. So it's the same thing, but with a doctor. And so if you are having a problem or you do need that annual checkup and you don't want to go in, there are other methods and means of getting medical attention without physically going to a doctor's office.
Right.
Which
I
is-
think
which
it's
is
very important, and it's very important, especially with regard to your prescriptions. If you have any questions, you can call your pharmacist. It's just such an important thing that you realize that there is someone here who can help you.
Yeah.
So try to reach out. You didn't. Where are you exactly? Would you like to tell us where you
We
are?
are on, my location is on Hill Boulevard,
Oh.
on just off of Route 6, right behind Jefferson Valley Mall. We also have other clinics. We have multiple clinics
Yeah,
in
you have
Ivy
multiple
Rehab.
sites, yeah.
Correct, and two other local ones are in Club Fit. We have one
Right.
location, and in Putnam Valley on Peekskill Hollow Road, we have a location.
Yep.
And in the Club Fit also in Briarcliff Manor. Those are the closest ones, and then we have many others in Lower Westchester.
Yeah, you're a very
Duchess.
large operation with a lot of satellite offices.
So
Yes.
what do you do what do people do when they come there?
Well, depending on their issue, you know, we evaluate, so we actually can see people without a prescription.
Oh.
Unless, except for Medicare. So unfortunately, that's mainly most of our seniors are probably Medicare recipients. But if for example, some may be still working and may have commercial insurance, so we can see people without a prescription for a limited period of time. So you can either go that route, or if you have an issue and you've seen your doctor and get a prescription, we can see them through that channel as well. And we will evaluate the issue, whether it's an orthopedic issue or somebody who is having difficulty with walking, with gait and balance, and determine what the best plan of care will be. So for example, with somebody who comes in with gait and balance issues, it might be working with the correct assistive device to teach them to use it properly, working on exercises to increase strength, as we talked about earlier, which carries over into improving balance. And then also there are several different balance type of exercises that we can incorporate and give patients a home exercise program, things that they can continue on their own at home.
So if you're on Medicare, you need a doctor's prescription.
That's correct.
Would that be your general practitioner?
It can be
or-
your general practitioner. It can be if you've gone to a specialist, say, like an orthopedist, for example. It can be from that physician. It can be basically from any physician.
Good. That's good. That's good. I want to remind people, too, that we have early voting.
We do have early voting.
It starts, let me see, October 24th. I believe that's tomorrow.
Saturday.
And it's at the Yorktown Cultural Center,
Now called the Albert Cappellini.
originally
Community.
called the sixth grade school.
I still call it the sixth grade
I
school.
call it the sixth, I do. I call it the sixth grade school.
But yes, now it's at the Cappellini Community Center
Yep.
over in the gym.
Yep.
So you park as if you're going to the theater. There's one-way directionals to enter the gym and one-way directional out of the gym. Again, we're trying to prevent people from crossing paths because of COVID. But it starts this Saturday, and it runs until, I believe, Sunday, November 1st.
November 1st,
Correct?
from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. Not every day, though. Mondays,
Right, there's
it's-
differing
yeah.
times. Yeah.
Mondays, it's 8 a.m. to 4. Generally, it's 12 p.m., noon till 8 p.m. Wednesdays, it's 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. But anyway,
It's alternating
yeah,
times
there's
because they
you
try to
should-
accommodate mornings and then they flip
Right,
it for
right.
for afternoons and evenings. So you can check on the town's website.
Oh,
The
okay.
town clerk has this posted on the
Okay.
town's website. You can get all this information. Or again, feel free to just call town hall if you have any questions
Mm-hmm.
about your voting site. The town clerk is our oversees the elections here
Mm-hmm.
in town. She's been working diligently on this and doing a great job. And so if you have any questions, not just for early voting, but on election day too, because we have
Right.
had some polling place changes. If you have any questions, you can either call us here at Town Hall or call the Westchester County Board of Elections. And everyone should have received what you're holding. Check your mailbox because they are sending out information as to your polling places for Election Day, and then reminders about where to vote and how to vote, early voting, which begins on Saturday, which is
Yes, it
tomorrow.
has their phone number on it, their email address,
Yep.
and it's just a good thing to hold on to. And to remember, if you are interested in early voting, there are a lot of days that you can do that with, and we want everybody to get out to vote.
Correct.
Other things that we wanted to talk about, remember the communicating. The communication is very important for our seniors. Communication is important for everyone, but it's especially important for seniors who are living alone. This time of year, we start talking about changing your batteries. You have to remember to change your batteries and your smoke alarms. And I always like to remind everyone to keep their cell phone by their bedside at night. You know, I have an elderly person that I know, and I said, "Where's your cell phone?" She said, "It's in the kitchen." I said, "Well, where are you?" "I'm in the bedroom."
Yep.
I said, "Well, you know, I can't worry about you all the time, so please keep your cell phone near your bedside and program in the Yorktown Police, right? 962-4141. Have it programmed in because it will mean that there will be a more immediate response if you have a need for them.
Well, just when you're in those situations, and you don't have to sit there and think about the number. You just know it's in
Right.
your phone.
Right.
Just pull up Yorktown Police, and it's right there. You don't have to try to remember.
24 hours a day, doesn't
7
matter.
days a week.
Yeah.
They're always there. They're always there.
So the senior, we last year we had a wonderful senior fair.
Yep.
It was very well attended, and it was just a great event. We're hoping to do that this year. Last year, I think we had
Well,
it
we're hoping
in
to
the
do it
fall.
next year.
Next year,
This
right?
year
next
is,
year, right?
the year of 2020 is the
It's
year
gone.
of 2020.
It's gone.
And unfortunately, we've had to shy away from things that we would
Yep.
normally be doing, again, because we have to reduce crowding and,
Right.
and so on and so forth, and make sure that people are safe and healthy.
Right,
And that includes a senior fair.
right.
And so hopefully next spring,
Next spring, we're hoping.
we can begin planning for next spring. But at the same time, it also all depends. It's a very fluid situation, so it
Yep.
also all depends on where we are in the world.
Yeah,
of
we haven't
COVID
given up
in-
on it. We haven't
yeah.
given up
No,
on it,
no,
but
no,
we're
no, no. I
going
think
to, it was too popular. It was a wonderful
it
event.
was very popular. I
Yeah.
think it'd be great to do for the spring, but I don't think that we should. I think we should hope for the spring, but also
Right.
plan for the fall.
Right.
Because you just, again, it's very hard to predict where in the world we're going to be. A lot of
Right.
it's going to be predicated on the distribution of the vaccine or vaccines, depending on how you look at it, and when those are going to be approved and made available. And so, but one thing's for sure, we're definitely going to try our darndest to have that fair next year at some point in time,
Right.
and provide more services and highlight our seniors, our seniors and our elderly.
And our elderly, right. And
For
I
New
think
York
we're going to try to do that at the Jefferson Valley Mall this time, are we
We
not?
talked about it at the Jefferson Valley Mall. Correct. I think that would be a great location. The mall's been a fantastic community partner, always looking for ways to partner with the community and bring people to the mall. They've got some good plans for the mall. Hopefully, once we get through COVID, we can see them implemented. But yeah, we talked about going to the mall for the senior fair, which I think makes a lot of sense.
Wonderful.
And we're just trying to, again, wait to see what the world's going to look like at that point in time.
Right.
For the spring, if not, definitely for the fall.
Good. Wonderful. I want to thank all of my committee members. We have a wonderful committee. You'll see the listing as we close this session. And Maureen, if there's anything you'd like to add?
No, just thank you for inviting me today.
Thank you for coming. We appreciate it. We are always very interested in knowing where and how our seniors and our elders can receive services. So
Okay.
thank you very much.
And we do also do, if anyone is not quite sure if physical therapy might be indicated or is necessary, we do free screenings also.
Oh.
So that's something that
Great.
you're welcome to
So
give us a call.
how would that take place?
So the person could call the office and tell us they're having an issue with, whether it's walking or they have shoulder pain or whatever the problem is, and they don't know whether they need therapy or if they should go to the doctor. So they can come to us. We can do a quick 15-minute screening, and we can give them a recommendation whether we feel that they need to follow up and see their doctor, or if we feel that therapy would be beneficial. If it's someone who is on Medicare and needs a prescription, then we would recommend they see their doctor anyway and ask if they would agree with therapy. And like I said previously, if they're not Medicare, they can come what we call direct access. They can come to see us without the prescription, so we can then just sort of transfer that over into an active physical therapy program.
And if they
we
come
can
in
see
to
them.
want to talk to you or call you, is that a free
Right, correct,
service?
yeah.
Right.
Number?
It's 962-2728,
962-2728.
correct.
And your organization is?
Ivy Rehab Physical Therapy.
Ivy Rehab, okay. And you're in the Jefferson Valley.
We are in, yes, Yorktown Heights, actually. My location is, but we also have the Jefferson Valley. We're on Hill Boulevard.
Wonderful, that's good. We are really very interested in hearing what problems you have out there, either as a suggestion or if you have a particular issue. Call the supervisor's office. He will direct you in some way, shape, or form, and we'll try to get any assistance that we can out there for you. Is there anything else you'd like to discuss,
Just
Supervisor?
wanted to mention once again that we are working here in Town Hall. In order to access Town Hall, we're just asking that you make an appointment with the department. Again, that's part of our COVID screening process. There is a COVID screening process when you arrive, which I know you've
Yes.
both participated in, which includes getting your temperature scanned and answering a few COVID screening questions. But I want to make sure that everyone understands that we are here working. Every department remains working. Every department has worked through the pandemic. And we're continuing to provide the services that Yorktown residents expect and deserve. And we're going to continue doing that despite the challenges of 2020 and whatever may be waiting for us beyond. But our staff has been just absolutely tremendous, especially for our seniors. And so they deserve a tremendous round of applause. And
Wonderful,
I
they've
just
been
wanna-
very good, yes.
Just want to make sure that people recognize and understand that our staff is still here. We're still working. We're still working for them.
Good, good. Well, thank you for watching. We want you to stay well, be well, and stay healthy. And if you have any topics that you'd like for us to address, please let us know. Call the supervisor's office. We have a suggestion box someplace, but we probably can't get into town hall now. So just call and let us know, and we will try to accommodate that. So thanks again. Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Thank
Madam
you
Chair.
for coming. Very nice meeting you.
Maureen,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you, and we look forward to seeing you again. Thank you very much.